From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News. I'm Jessica Canales. Thanks for joining us. Follow the money. It's a saying well used by journalists around the world, as well as our Cronkite News reporters working the business beat. Tonight, we bring you some of our top Arizona stories focused on making money, spending money, and protecting your hard-earned cash.
Job openings across the country are on the decline. The U.S. Labor Department says August saw the fewest number of jobs posted in the past 8 months. Openings dropped from nearly 7% to 5.4 million, down from a record 5.8 million in July. Despite the fewer job openings, the Labor Department says the economy is still generating enough jobs to lower unemployment. Struggling Arizona job seekers are getting a second chance at new careers in the financial industry. Cronkite News reporter Alicia Gonzalez tells us how.
Elizabeth Roman Mancera has been working for this dry cleaning company to help support her household of 7. She was making minimum wage.
I do have my younger siblings who aren't working, and it's mostly me and my older sister who are helping my parents.
But she just graduated from the BankWorks program last month, which she says helped land her a job with Bank of America for a much higher pay.
With me being able to get a little bit extra more money, I'm able to help out more with my parents. And of course with college, I won't have to rely on my parents to pay for college. I can save up for myself.
Chiri Falshi is an instructor with BankWorks. She says she teaches her students the ins and outs of a bank.
So some of this information, if you're coming in off the street applying to the bank, you have no idea that this is what to expect as a teller or as a personal banker. These individuals know what to expect.
BankWorks is a national program and just recently came to Arizona. Elizabeth was part of the 3rd Arizona BankWorks class. The free training is paid for by Arizona Women's Education and Employment and Valley Banks, who are looking to hire the BankWorks grads. AWE President and CEO Maria Sullivan says there's a large need for banking positions, particularly in Maricopa County.
So BankWorks was coming with a prescribed program that could help us recruit and fill the pipeline for the employers in the community that wanted to have talent ready and able to work.
Sullivan said about 60% of graduates get jobs the day of graduation. The other 40% will still receive help for up to a year. In Phoenix, Alicia Gonzalez, Cronkite News.
The 8-week program has over 200 people apply, but only has room for 20 participants each session.
Jewelry, clothing, baked goods, and customizable buttons, all made by kids. The Arizona Children's Business Fair at Arcadia Park on Saturday was home to many bright ideas. Reporter Dana Lewandowski shows how children are turning those ideas into business deals.
Children ages 4 through 13 got the opportunity to showcase their creative business ideas. The event was sponsored by Acton Academy, an organization that inspires children to become entrepreneurs and also teaches them the basics of what it takes to run a business. Noah and Sam Hendrick, ages 12 and 10, have been making buttons like pros. Their business, Happy Buttons, started when their parents had a button maker sitting around from a previous business. The boys picked up the button maker and started working.
We have the machine back there. You can't see it right now. And we've pressed different components together, and we have 2 different types. We have pixelated things, and then we also have emotes. Those are our main ones. These are our main categories, but we also have stuff like footballs, basketballs, and gummy bears.
Happy Buttons was one of the many booths set up in Arcadia Park for the Arizona Children's Business Fair. Business ideas ranged from t-shirts and tank tops from AZ Adventure to delicious baked goods from Annie's Apples. Each child had to state their sales pitch for their product, keep track of inventory, and work their charm on the customers to make sales.
They've grown up learning how to be entrepreneurs, and you see it big time on display here, and that they just know. They know exactly what they're looking for and the sales points that they want to make, so it's pretty impressive.
This event allowed children to show their creative side and put what they've learned about creating a business into an actual product.
It's not just about doing something brand new, but it's taking something old and making it renewed and continuing on tradition.
The people in the community purchasing their products aren't the only ones that love this event.
It's very exciting. I love this. We did it last year, and it was very fun.
The fair ended by awarding medals to the young entrepreneurs with the highest business potential, most original business, and best presentation. Happy Buttons took home the medal for the highest business potential for children ages 8 through 10. A citywide business fair is planned for the spring of 2017. For more information, go to actonarcadia.org or stay updated on their Facebook page at AZ Children's Business Fair. Dana Lewandowski, Cronkite News.
It is the latest chapter in the continuing drama that has played out in Glendale since 2009, including team bankruptcy, ownership change, and battles over the team's lease with the city.
On Monday, the Coyotes announced plans to build an arena in Tempe. If those plans come to fruition, the Coyotes will leave behind their current home in Glendale, Gila River Arena.
Caught in the middle of the drama, the Westgate Entertainment District. Madeline Hyman looks at the district's future.
With this week's news of the Coyotes' plans to move to Tempe, Glendale's Gila River Arena and its surrounding area, including the Westgate Entertainment District, could be left without a big draw 41 nights a year. Oprah Life managing partner Alan Cryer, who opened his restaurant at Westgate less than 2 years ago, is concerned.
Well, obviously it's a big blow. Not just us, but every retail and restaurant tenant in here, as Westgate keeps developing more and more restaurants to accommodate events like the Coyotes, Cardinals, concerts, etc. It's going to slow down business dramatically.
Glendale Vice Mayor Ian Hugh is not as worried. He believes other events will replace the draw of the hockey team that has played in the arena since its opening in December of 2003.
If the Coyotes leave, that would just open up the door to try to attract other activities in. And maybe it might be some arena football, some other sports that are very family-friendly and affordable to go see.
A written statement from the city said, quote, "The city of Glendale has consistently stated its desire that the Arizona Coyotes remain the prime tenant in Gila River Arena. Although the Coyotes have stated their desire to explore other options, the city of Glendale is committed to helping the team be successful while they play in the Gila River Arena."
They've made these announcements before. I read the press clippings on it, and to me it said a whole lot of nothing. So none of it was a surprise. We know they need a new arena. We know Glendale has soured that relationship with the Coyotes as we're partners with the Coyotes. So it's really no new news.
In Glendale, Madeline Hyman, Cronkite News.
Whoever wins the World Series tonight, the Cactus League can expect to benefit. Both the Indians and Cubs spend spring training in the Valley. After the Kansas City Royals won last year, they saw an 8% Cactus League attendance boost at Surprise Stadium. The Cubs are already the most popular ticket in the Cactus League, but Cronkite News reporter Gina Berg went to Mesa to find out how a Cubs World Series win could help spur a major development in the city.
The Chicago Cubs are looking to win their first World Series since 1908. If they can pull off this win, the city of Chicago won't be the only city that can benefit from it.
So they also expect the rates to go up as well, which creates that higher demand. So if the Cubs win, the rates go higher.
Fans have packed Mesa's Sloan Park and the Sheraton Mesa Hotel at Wrigleyville West since the Cubs moved their spring training operations into the 15,000-seat stadium in 2014. With the team playing at 97% capacity this past spring, there isn't much room for attendance growth inside the ballpark. But a big opportunity for Mesa. A Cubs World Series win could reignite the stalled development of Wrigleyville West, a hoped-for combination of restaurants, bars, and retail adjacent to the stadium that is yet to materialize. The Sheraton has been the only major project built so far.
Well, we're hopeful that it'll be that property, as it continues to develop, will be a source of revenue for the city.
Well, obviously bringing more business into our community brings more travel, brings more opportunities for your restaurants. So just the influx of business also helps the business overall.
Meanwhile, representatives at Goodyear Ballpark, spring training home of the Indians and Reds, said they've already seen a 30% spike in Indians Cactus League season ticket sales. In Mesa, Gina Berg, Cronkite News.
When spring training begins in February, one team will arrive having ended one of the 3 longest championship droughts in major professional sports. It's been 108 years for the Cubs and 68 years for the Indians. The number 2 team on the list of longest championship droughts, the Arizona Cardinals, at 69 years and counting.
Chicago-based businesses in the Valley are reaping the benefits of the Cubs in the World Series for the first time in 71 years. Most restaurants have seen sold-out crowds throughout the team's postseason run. Reporter Giselle Cancio spoke to some of the businesses to learn how they're making Phoenix feel like Wrigley.
With the World Series tied at 1 game apiece, the Cubs return home to try to move closer to rewriting history. But Wrigley Field isn't the only place that will be overflowing with Cubs fans this weekend.
Let's go, Hockey!
Chubby Blue runs deep, nearly 2,000 miles away here in the desert. Not surprising, considering Arizona was the top out-of-state relocation destination for Chicagoans from 2009 to 2013, according to Crane's Chicago Business.
Even when there's no baseball going on, people are coming in their jerseys just because they want us to know they're from Chicago.
And at Half Moon Windy City Sports Grill in Phoenix, it goes beyond fans just meeting up to watch America's pastime.
We get together, we sing the 7th inning stretch, we sing Go Cubs Go, we fly the W. We do all those things that everybody expects from back home. I've got $2 Old Style in a can every day, so you feel like you're back at Wrigley.
It's more than restaurants that are seeing an impact with the Cubs in the World Series. Sports merchandise stores like Flag World have had a tremendous sales increase in Cubs gear, including this Fly the W flag for its rich tradition at Wrigley Field.
We hope everybody carries one so it'll carry the Cubs through a World Series victory.
Even Chicago hot dog haven Portillo's has doubled its staff to process the larger than normal amount of takeout orders coming in on game days.
The biggest thing is that people come in here before the game starts and they'll take some takeout, so the entire family is eating Chicago Portillo's hot dogs.
Whether it's a deep dish pizza or an authentic Vienna beef hot dog, Chicago transplants are coming out in droves for a taste of home as they hope to witness the North Side team break a 108-year drought. In Phoenix, Giselle Cancio, Cronkite News.
From creative costumes to terrifying decorations, people are expected to spend the most money since 2012 on all things Halloween. Dana Lewandowski is at Fear Farm in Phoenix to see what the trick is for giving the local economy a treat.
It costs just $25 to get into Fear Farm here, but that is only part of the $8.4 billion of revenue expected for this Halloween season. This revenue comes from people buying candy, attending Halloween events, buying decorations, or getting that perfect costume you've been waiting to get.
September, and you notice the foot traffic and the consumer demand is starting to pick up, and which means it's just going to be one really long month, of steady flow.
When it comes to heavy spending, haunted houses, ghoulish garb, and trick-or-treaters are just a fraction of what makes Halloween the third highest consumer spending season, according to the National Retail Federation. A Prosper Insights survey estimates at least 67% of Halloween shoppers plan on buying costumes. Groovy Ghoulies sells costumes year-round in Mesa. They keep up with trends and make sure their shelves are stocked with costumes consumers have been dying to get their hands on.
Usually right after Halloween, we kind of start prepping for Halloween. So even though it lasts, a month, we spend the rest of the year preparing for it.
Haunted houses and spooky hayrides are other frightening ways businesses load up on funds during the season. As the night sky fades to black, the terrifying allure of Fear Farm in Phoenix is enough to entice those brave enough to enter. Zach Bussey, the director of Fear Farm, has seen attendance creep up year after year.
This year, we're expecting a bigger attendance than we've ever had. It probably goes up 10 to 20% every year.
Zombies, clowns, and creatures roam the grounds, lurking in the shadows for their next victim. This creepy clown shares what he finds most intriguing about Halloween.
I think the idea of dressing and behaving outside your norm is just charming. I don't get to do this at home.
The magic of this spooky holiday keeps consumers coming back for more. Groovy Ghoulies is open year-round in Mesa, and Fear Farm is open until November 5th. Live in Phoenix, Dana Lewandowski, Cronkite News.
The Marcos Deniza Housing Project in South Phoenix is home to more than 360 low-income families. Many of them work in jobs like retail or food service and can't afford to live anywhere else. Still, most want a way out. Reporter Anthony Marroquin took a look at a program that's looking to help them do just that.
Thanks to a $2 million federal grant, the City of Phoenix plans to help residents with job interview training and professional clothing to make getting a higher paying job just a little bit easier. I spoke with some of the community members about the new project, and they all had the same reaction: relief.
It's kind of rough around the edges sometimes, but other than that, it's a nice community. This is a nice area.
Like Cortiana Edwards, many of the residents at the Marcos Deniza Affordable Housing Complex work hard to make the money they have, but it's not always enough.
I worked at the G-Bag store in Arizona Mills and the Ross store at the same time, and the check was nothing. I couldn't even pay my rent.
That may soon change thanks to a grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The city will use the money to work directly in the community, offering training on site. Deputy Housing Director William Emerson says this is a key advantage of the project because residents don't have to travel anywhere to get the help they need.
So often we only get to plant a seed, but here we've got 4 years to visit with every single family. And so we get to plant the seed, we get to water the seed.
The median household income in the half square mile around this complex is just under $11,000, or about a quarter of the amount in Phoenix. So it's not that residents necessarily dislike it here. Many of them just dream about the day when they can afford to buy their own and bigger place.
It helps because we could stop depending on help from these projects and go find something bigger for the kids.
Delia Mora says she's been looking for a job for months without any luck and will look forward to having a way to be able to help her granddaughter get further along in life than she did.
It's important to get up and move forward so you're not stuck in one place all your life.
Moving forward to benefit the future. The money will be broken up into $500,000 installments over 4 years, which the city hopes will help it see a 50% increase in the employment rate of the community. In Phoenix, Anthony Marroquin, Cronkite News.
Some Valley companies are using refugee programs to help fill a skilled labor shortage. Cronkite News reporter Jesse Canales found out how one refugee is helping to supply the Valley with electricity.
Imal Defran left his home country of Iraq with his wife, seeking a better life in the United States through the International Rescue Program.
There's a lot of terrorism there, the war. I can't live there.
Afram was an electrician in Iraq for 8 years, but when he arrived in Phoenix, he almost ended up with a new career.
Housekeeping at hotels, but 2 days or 3 later, they give me this job through the agency, IRC.
That job was an electrician at Austin Electric Services. Troy Barbush is the program's director of training and development. The program teaches people how to become an electrician through 2 phases.
We've partnered up with the Home Builders Association. We've utilized a lot of the refugee agencies here in the Valley, and we've also partnered up with the DOC.
There are currently 38 people in the program and 8 graduates. Trainees learn in the field. They can also become a supervisor through the program, which is what Afram is doing, and instruct other trainees. The program was originally meant for millennials, but supervisors say they weren't that eager for the job.
This is a lot of hard work. This is hard work, good money. The younger generation just doesn't want to work as hard.
That is where willing workers like Afram, who also had the experience, come in and fill those much needed positions. In Phoenix, Jesse Canales, Cronkite News.
When you look for a new home, you may find yourself driving around neighborhoods looking for open houses, but all of that could soon become a thing of the past. Cronkite News reporter Zach Moran shows us how new technology is expected to change the real estate business.
Imagine being able to virtually tour an entire property without having to leave your couch. One Valley real estate firm is making that possible, and they say they're the first in the Valley to do it. Inside this Peoria real estate brokerage, real estate meets virtual reality.
The first time I seen a video was about 6 months ago, and as soon as I seen it, again, it just instantaneously I knew that this would translate to real estate extremely well.
Deluxe Realty CEO Daniel McCarthy is introducing these virtual reality stations, letting clients get the experience of touring a home, all without taking a single step on the property.
You're talking about literally taking homes and creating an atmosphere where people can tour them comfortably on a headset from their home, and I think it's going to change the way people view homes.
It only requires 360 video, a smartphone, and a VR headset. From there, you're transported to another place, either down the street or even around the world.
Oh, wow.
And at this open house, some industry professionals got their first taste of just that.
It's just very unique, all the different perspectives, and the fact that you can, without even moving, walk through the whole house. So, I mean, it's just a very different way. I felt like I was in a different place.
There is just a huge opportunity for
this to be the next big thing in real estate. We've been waiting for some time.
And McCarthy agrees. He's confident that the technology will one day be an everyday tool in the real estate industry. When that day will come is uncertain, but for now, he's ahead of the curve.
It's definitely going to be impacted. People are definitely going to be looking at homes much differently. They're going to experience homes much differently before they actually physically go to the home. They're going to see this technology in use.
The company expects that 75% of its property listings will be virtual reality capable within the next 6 months. In the broadcast center, Zach Moran, Cronkite News.
After a decision from a case that went all the way to the Arizona Supreme Court, Phoenix police are now allowed to work for their union and still get paid by the city. Cronkite News reporter Danielle Kernkamp has details on how this could impact cities across the state.
For decades, Phoenix police have worked with the city of Phoenix for what's called release time. That's when officers who are part of the Phoenix Law Enforcement Association, or PLE, get paid for their time working with the union rather than police duties. In 2011, that practice was ruled unconstitutional. Today, that decision was overturned. The case was brought to court in 2011 when taxpayers sued the city, alleging the union violates the gift clause, which bars the city from making donations to any association. Lawyers for the police union argued the case for the defense.
We felt like our attorneys did a very good job in front of the panel of judges in conveying the true essence of what the arguments were.
And today, the Arizona Supreme Court ruled in favor of officers being able to work for the union and still be paid by the city. Phoenix Councilman Sal DeCiccio believes this verdict will have a national effect on taxpayer dollars.
This opens up the door not just to the state of Arizona, but it opens up union activity being funded by taxpayer dollars across the country.
DeCiccio says he believes this decision is one of the most impactful that has occurred in Arizona in a long time, since it could force other cities with smaller budgets to pay for time spent away from law enforcement duties. In the broadcast center, Danielle Kernkamp, Cronkite News.
Reports of predatory loans are up. A new report from a local consumer advocacy group found over the past 3 years, there were nearly 10,000 complaints nationwide to the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. Reporter Anthony Marroquin took a look at how the loan business has developed in Arizona and what you can do to protect yourself.
91% of those complaints studied by the Arizona Public Education Fund dealt with some sort of unaffordability. Here in Arizona, voters banned payday loans in 2010, but that hasn't stopped other companies from stepping in and charging triple-digit interest rates.
Look around most corners in the lower income areas of town, and you'll see a familiar sight.
They encourage consumers to come on in and they can get that loan immediately and help to pay their bills.
The short-term loan business in Arizona has skyrocketed over the last decade, making the state the 7th most concentrated title loan market per adult in the country, according to the Center for Economic Integrity. Cynthia Swick with the Arizona Community Action Association says the biggest problem is lenders marketing to people who may not be able to afford it.
They may not be able to pay them off, so they reinvest in another loan, or they take out another loan to pay that one off and then have some cash to meet expenses.
There's still several loans today that are allowed to charge you triple-digit interest rates. Title loans are the most popular, but there's also flex loans and registration loans. These loans are allowed to charge you as much as 204% APR. And just to give you a hint on what that means, a 2-year loan at $2,500 at 204% APR would cost you $10,441 to pay off.
But not everyone sees the loans as a detriment. The Arizona Title Loan Association says that people need a safe place where they can borrow money in times of need.
Anything that limits that availability will simply force consumers to either go to offshore lenders, tribal lenders, unlicensed lenders, perhaps somebody in an alleyway.
The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau is working on a national legislation that would impose a 6-loan yearly cap on any one person before lenders are required to assess whether the customer can afford another one.
If you feel you are in an unfair loan, you can file a complaint with the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. In Phoenix, Anthony Marroquin, Cronkite News.
The Phoenix Rescue Mission has invested its time in cookies to help the homeless population. Cronkite News reporter Alicia Gonzalez tells us how.
Once I got past the smell of cookies baking in the oven, I was able to learn just how important those cookies can be to the families who came to the Phoenix Rescue Mission for help.
My mom was doing bad, like she got into the habit, like she got addicted to drugs, and then she came here to get me back, and then when she got me back, then she worked in the kitchen for a little bit, and then they hired her to catering.
Mason Rader has been living at the Phoenix Rescue Mission's Changing Lives Center for the past 2 years after being reunited with his mom. His mom is now the manager of Mission Possible Catering, which is the second of the 2 businesses created by the nonprofit.
This program has changed my life completely. I mean, 100%. I am a completely different person I think of than when I walked through the doors. I mean, I feel that I have hope for my future. I have hope for my son that I can go out and do and become a part of society and be able to make my way with me and my child.
Like other women at the center, Rader is a part-time employee who is getting training that will make the transition back into society much smoother.
We don't want our graduates to graduate our program and then go flip burgers, because that's not a sustainable wage. And many of the women here have children, and they really can't support their families on a minimum wage job. So we're teaching them to go in at more of a manager level at a restaurant.
Kathy Coca, executive project manager at the Phoenix Rescue Mission, says they are one of the few providing solutions to our valley's growing homeless population.
I've never worked in a kitchen before I came here, ever. And now I'm like running this catering thing, and we have girls that are clients that come into, catering, and we rotate them out of the kitchen. So I'm constantly training new girls.
The program usually takes about a year and graduates about 50 women each year. Phoenix Rescue Mission is in the process of developing a 3rd business right now, which will extend their options to breakfast and lunch. In the Broadcast Center, Alicia Gonzalez, Cronkite News.
That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.